All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our final lecture of CIS 119-DO, basically Introduction to Database. Um, just a brief recap. We covered a lot of the basic, concepts of managing data using SQL or SQL. You learned about the different aspects of SQL from DML to DDL to, um, TCL. And you all did discover, I didn't mention this before, that basically you can't change any of the privileges in your instance. So when you run those queries, you get the not enough permissions or not allowed. That's fine. I basically wanted you to put those queries together, and you all did. Most of you did uh, well with that. So, all right. So that's my kind of summary of our learning adventure throughout this course. Remember, this is just an intro. There's several, well, a couple other courses um, that go further into SQL. I think under Oracle, if you're interested, there's a programming language portion of it, or PL SQL, which basically embeds SQL into a programming language, or the programming language was AA. It's an old language, but Oracle took it over, and now that's what the PL SQL is about. You learn a little bit of programming and and you use your SQL knowledge. So, all right. So before I begin, basically the rest of the sections are not required, or you don't have any assignments. Basically, section 19 talks about testing, uh, so don't worry about that. So the last thing that you're required to do in this class is the final project, and this online media rentals schema. Um, in the newer version, I will task students to basically create another database, which is not a big deal, but for you all, I just want you to create the tables. So if you open up the the instructions, it's 40 points, and basically you're going to apply SQL to do the following. And once again, it does say functional database, but you're just going to create the tables, creating tables, adding constraints, creating views, creating sequences, adding data to the tables, creating indexes, creating synonyms, and then testing the database is just selecting the tables that you're selecting using a select statement um, to view the data. And I will say again, this is what I would like for you to show with screenshots along with your queries um, when you build your little tables. So there is an ERD, or entity relationship diagram. If you click on that, of course it won't open here. Basically, it gives you an idea of what the relationship in the table is. This should give you an idea how the tables are going to be related. You should, I'm pretty certain you all have or where we did go over, relationship of tables, the amount of tables, yes. So you will be required to create all 6 tables in this little exercise. So that's what your entity relationship diagram gives you. Um, and then this Oracle uh, overview, once again, this will just provide essentially what I'm tasking you all to complete. It gives you an overview. You can read through that to get it, get better context of what I'm trying to provide for you. And then once again, we have the project tables. So these links, they're just resources. Um, it gives you the the attributes of the tables, everything that you need to know to create the tables. All right. Now, initially, this is basically all the information that I provided to you for the project, or we provided to you for the project. Um, there's a SQL script, but you don't really need that. All right. So if you continue in this section, I will go back. In this, there's a final project outline as far as your SQL. This gives you a pretty good portion of like the tables. Oh, hold on here. Essentially, you can copy and paste at least the start of the tables. So you have the customers table, the movies table,
அது
and then
சிக்கன் தூள் வெளியே வைங்க ரோஸ்ட் பண்றேன் அத உள்ள ஃப்ரீஸ்ல இருக்கு பாரு
sure you mute. All right. All right. So that does give you another part of an outline of what I'm asking for. But once again, if you go back to this final project section, this PDF here actually provides all of the queries that you need to run. Every single one. So the tables, all the tables, all six, the sequences, it suggested insertion of data, including the queries. The key here is that I want you all to run this and provide screenshots of what you have run from SQL Developer. So that's the key. I mean, I don't want you just to copy and paste this into a Word doc and submit it. I want you to run these queries in the developer and show me the results. Now, you can do it a couple ways. You can run through the queries and then just take at least a screenshot that shows that the tables have been created and that the tables have data. That's the key. So with that being said, are there any questions about the project? All right. Let me check the text. No, you don't have to create it. You don't have to submit a SQL. The SQL is all there for you. I just want to see that you can create these tables and all the other requirements with the project here, these eight requirements, the tables, the constraints, and then views, sequences, and then adding data to the tables, and then indexes, synonyms, and then the testing the database is just showing. So once you've shown that you've added data, that's basically testing the database. I usually would want you to, at least do a join or whatever if you need it, but basically if you show me that particular part of the work, that's fine. And once again, in the module or in the section, you do have basically all the queries that you need. I don't think you even need to modify any of these. The issue is copying this from the PDF into the developer, the query builder section of the developer. But I put together this PDF, or actually Oracle put this together to give you essentially a framework to finish the project. But you do have to show me that you've created all of these particular attributes of the project. So the way that I grade this, I check these 8 items. All right. Well, frankly, if you just create one row, someone asked how many rows of data are required. Yeah, as long as you can insert at least one record, that's fine. One record in each table. Now there's some sample records on that PDF. That's fine. As long as I can see that you've added those records to the table or that record to the table. Now, if you want to experiment and add more, test your constraints and all that, usually I want you to do that. But, if you follow the rules and all that of creating a database like this. So that is essentially what I call testing. So it should not be an issue. If you run into errors, make sure you take a screenshot of the errors. But if you're having an issue and you can't get past those errors, make sure you message me. Everything is due Friday, the 13th. I think they did that on purpose. So Friday the 13th, midnight is the last date of submissions for this class. Now, if for some reason you can't satisfy that due date, please let me know ahead of time. That's the only way that I'm going to accept late work, and it's not just going to be that Saturday. So at the very latest, if you're having issues, if you're having technical issues or network issues, I need to know. So, but Friday, the 13th at midnight is our last submission date. Any other questions about the project? All right, do we all have a pretty good handle about what I'm expecting as far as your submission and deliverables? So if not, please speak now. All right. All right, Adam. All right, and that's all that I'm expecting. And it does put basically everything together as far as what you've learned at this level of SQL and data management. All right. All right, so with that being said, let's move on to the final. Once again, the final is open. It opened this morning. I don't think anyone has anyone actually tried to go through it yet? Or are you waiting for me to give you all the answers or half the answers? Um, Seeing no comment. No one's, let's see. Okay, yeah. Lam says he was waiting for this class, so let's just open it up. I have to figure out which one I made active. I think it's this one. No, it's this one. Sorry. I am going to get rid of all the rest. So it's the final exam A. One thing it does require, Respondus Lockdown, the browser that you have to use that will not allow you to navigate from the exam once you've started it on your computer. There's 50 questions. Well, it says closed book, but it's not really closed book. Just make yourself some notes, some mental notes. There is, before I go into it, there is a final exam um, study guide. And yes, I did update it. So I would suggest printing this out so primarily the bolded items are definitely in there. The unbolded items, you should, at least create some notes, but select statements, where and order by, set operators, DML, DDL, tables, constraints, creating, indexing, all of that, all of the bolded items are definitely in their areas of focus. So the major emphasis is sections 9 through 16, which is basically the last sections. There will not be anything from sections 1 through 8, which that was the midterm. All right. Also, the slides and the quizzes and the in-class activities, we had a couple of them. Those are all a part, or those should be a part of your study guide. So yeah, I would suggest printing that out if you can. All right. So 50 questions, it's 100 points. You do have 2 hours. Once you open it, once again, it's not a maintain the status of your progress type of an exam. You open it, you're in the exam, you have to finish it within the 2 hours. That's the way this particular exam works. So let's take a look. I think I covered one. Oh, so someone has actually started. That's all right. So let's just randomly pick a question. Someone choose a number between 1 and 50. We'll take a look at that question. 48. Of course, you choose the one of the last. All right. Hey there. All right. I think the last question is, thank you, 48. All right. Which of the following statements produces this result? And we have to look at let me close my video here. So I'm basically going to give you this. This is question 4. Oh, what are you doing? So we have manager ID, I'm assuming, job ID, average salary, right? So this is probably the employees table. So, well, the right answer is this: select manager ID, job ID, average salary from employees, where job ID is like, A, right? Group by, and the roll-up manager, I don't know if you remember that. So it's just ordering, or it's grouping it by this roll-up manager. And actually, if you look at these responses, it's not a cube, so you can eliminate those two answers. But if you remember what roll up and cube are, you may have to review that, and that's why this one is the correct response, because of the how it's grouped. It's grouped by a roll up manager ID, job ID. That's a good one to provide an answer for because of the way it's structured. I mean, it's very, actually, I didn't like that question at all, but there you go. Number 48, make sure you choose this answer. Select, okay. And we can run that if we want to make sure. Let's see. That I'm not just making this up. So let's another SQL. Open. There we go. Query builder. Throw that in there. All right. Run it. And there. And if we go back to our, I should just share. Hold on. We go back to our question. And we take a look at the table. It has the nulls in the beginning, 100, 101, 205. And that's what we're seeing in our little result, right? In responses. That's a very odd result. You probably won't use that for any reason, but so there you go. All right, I'll give you one more. Who wants to choose another question? 26. All right. All right, let's do it this way. I'm going to preview it, see if you all can cancel that. Preview, because then we get the numbers here. 26. All right, which of the following is not true for complex views? Can always perform DML through the view, derives data from many tables, contains functions or groups of data, does not contain data of its own. Which of those is not true? Anyone want to guess before we check? No guess. Oh, where we got one. 2. Mom says 2. 2 is not true. Derives data from many tables. Well, a view. Are you sure about that? All right. Think about that. All right, let's take a look at it then. Stop the preview. Take a look. All right. Not go too far. Not to count them. 3, 4, 9. There we go. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is actually 1, or A, can always perform DML through, what was that response? Through the view. Yeah, can always. Yeah. That's not, and that's a very tricky question. You can derive data from any tables in a view, because a view could be, remember, that's a select statement, so that you could have many tables in that view. It does contain functions, does not contain data of its own, that's true. So yes, the correct answer for 26 is can always perform DML through the view. Sometimes you can't perform DML, which are select, update, um, insert, delete. Yeah, you can't perform delete with a view. So there you go. All right, so that's 2. Hopefully you wrote those down. So you can answer those right away. And just to highlight again, the final is open. It was open this morning at 8. It will remain open until Friday, the 13th at midnight. Yeah, this is the only one that you see. It's the only one I published. Make sure you take a look at the study guide to make, and I would just begin to either practice or make notes around it. Once again, when you open it, you have 2 hours to finish, to answer all 50 questions. Once again, the way it's structured, you can't stop the quiz, but you can, answer the questions that you can always go back, in a manner of speaking, to answer the questions that you did not answer during your first pass, but you can't close the quiz. That's the key. So let me stop sharing. Okay, so with that being said, that's our last task for this class. I do want to thank you all for, most of you are very, very good students. Believe it or not, you probably learn more than what you are aware of. And it is, appropriate to have this knowledge as far as managing data. SQL has been around forever, and it is still the foundation of how data is accessed, believe it or not. Behind all the programming languages and all the data structure and data science, there there is SQL, Structured Query Language. And yes, we had envisioned that this would go away with some of the modern level or higher level languages, but the relational databases became so large that this is still the key. So what you've learned in this class is foundational and it is very important. So, all right. With that being said, any last minute questions before I let you go? And remember, I will be monitoring everything, so it's not like I'm going to disappear. So if you have any questions about anything in the class, any of the grading, any of the assignments, and the final project, please send me a message, Canvas message, or an email. Once again, please remember the big thing about the final project is that I need to see that you've actually done the work. So in SQL Developer, you all have access to that, or your preferred development environment. I know a couple of you are using VS Code. Make sure you show your work, show the development of that. And it's actually a database, it's actually a schema, but that's fine. Because we can't really do a lot with our instances in Oracle. So basically, I'm just looking for your development of the tables of views and all the particular other components and objects and showing your work. All right. Any last minute questions? Yes, I want to thank you all, and it has been a pleasure having you all in class. And maybe I'll see you all again. I do teach some web development classes, and sometimes I teach programming, but you know, they've locked me into this SQL class, and that's fine. It fits my schedule. But thank you all for your hard work. And as far as your grades, you'll know right away. I'm usually a pretty quick grader. So I usually post them. I'll have them posted before the week is up. All right. Oh, you did. All right, Adam. Yeah, I think I do remember your name in the web development class. Yeah. Okay, guys and ladies and gentlemen, take care. Have a good holiday. Um, finish those, finish everything up strong. All right. Take care. See you all.
Later, Professor.
Yep. Later.